Well, the White House warning of a deadly fentanyl mixture spreading rapidly around the country. The combination includes an animal sedative immune to Narcan, even causing terrible blackened wounds across users' skin. Joining us now, former DEA Special Agent Derek Maltz. Derek, I'm glad that the White House has joined the conversation, but this show has been covering this story since the beginning of the year, in early January, that this tranquilizer mixed with fentanyl is spreading through cities. We sent reporters down, especially in Philadelphia. It's a huge problem. And not only are people dying, but they're actually losing their flesh right there in front of everyone.
Dana, thank you for having me. Well, just last week in Milwaukee, unfortunately, there were 18 dead Americans, and the medical examiner is talking about the mixture of xylazine and fentanyl. So that stuff is coming from China as well. You could buy a kilogram of xylazine now for like $1 a kilogram. So the Chinese are taking advantage of what's going on in America, and it's really getting out of control. If you look, just like at the end of March, there were 40 people in Onondaga County, New York, that were poisoned. Don't know if they died because they didn't report it. In Portland, you guys had a story on Portland. There were 11 that were poisoned at the same time, 3 dead. So this is happening around the country, and it's nice to see at least the White House is finally talking about the fentanyl poisonings and the urgency to go after the supply. But Dana, one thing I want to say, I was really upset when I saw that they're finally launching an education campaign to target young Americans. Well, what are they waiting for? There's 200,000 Americans died under Joe Biden's administration. But the other thing that's really infuriating is that they're using these young social media influencers to talk about the presidential campaign. But why are they not using those same influences to talk about the fentanyl poisoning of our young Americans on social media reels? Because that's where the kids are learning.
And not only that, I mean, that's a great point. Because they do want to utilize them. In fact, Ronna McDaniel just talked about needing to reach young people where they're getting their news, which is not necessarily here where you and I are, or at least not exclusively. But I also wanted to ask you about this, because the Biden administration announced that they're going to increase sanctions against individuals who are dealing with fentanyl and other illicit drugs. Do you have any confidence that sanctions can do something here?
Well, look, I applaud the Treasury Department's efforts working with the DEA, other law enforcement agencies. They recently sanctioned in January, February, some really powerful Sinaloa cartel guys that were, bringing in the chemicals from China, making the meth, making the fentanyl. But most importantly, Dana, we have to decimate the Mexican cartels' command and control and their ability to make this stuff. And that means we may have to be a little more aggressive, use U.S. military assets, intelligence community assets, help the Mexicans fight the cartels, because the cartels are running the country of Mexico. And they're using the opportunity of a porous, wide-open border to flood our country with drugs. So sanctions are good. I've seen successful sanctions over my career. But, Dana, that's not going to solve the supply issue. We have to destroy the labs.
Michael Waltz, a congressman from Florida on the drug cartel, says this to Politico, that we need to start thinking about these groups more like ISIS than we do the mafia. Any quick thought on that?
Of course, the criminal justice system in Mexico has failed miserably. They're soft on crime, and they're basically not going to go after the cartels. They're not going to extradite these kingpins like we need to get them here. And to be honest with you, we're a little soft on crime north of the border as well.
Okay, well, we have lots of problems to solve, and you're on the case. We appreciate you being here. Derek Maltz, thank you.
Thank you.